Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're diving into one of the most iconic maps in zombies history, Kino der Toten from Black Ops 1. In this video, and in the series as a whole, I'll be breaking down Easter eggs and unveiling hidden secrets you might not have even known existed within our favorite maps. Kino der Toten is packed with them, and if you're like me, there's always something new to discover, even after all these years. Let's get into some background info first. Kino der Toten is set in an abandoned movie theater located in East Berlin. It's thought to be set in the early to mid 1960s, at the peak of the Cold War. We can estimate the time period because the Berlin TV tower is shown under construction in the background of the map. Here you see the tower in Kino and the real-life tower under construction in comparison. The abandoned theater has been repurposed by Group 935 for their mind control experiments. At this point in the story, Richthofen had just betrayed Dr. Maxis at the Der Riese facility in 1945. Because the Wunderwaffe DG-2 overloaded the teleporter, Richthofen, Takeo, Dempsey and Nikolai were teleported through space and time, landing 18 years in the future at the Kino facility. Upon arriving, they must face limitless hordes of the undead as they continue their journey. Now let's dive into the Easter eggs and secrets and start with the loading screen. The loading screen for Kino is drawn in a comic book style and showcases key components of the storyline. In the top left we see zombies with a large moon in the background, clearly referencing Nacht der Untoten. To the right of that we can see the courtyard of the iconic asylum from the Verrückt map with its recognizable fountain. On the far right, there's a character shooting zombies with a pistol, but the background is unknown. It's also unclear if this character is Dempsey or someone else. Since Dempsey isn't completely bald, there are theories suggesting it could be Gersh, though this remains unproven. At the bottom, we see the Ultimus crew fighting zombies while using a teleporter. They're on the map Der Riese and, as the bottom right of the screen indicates, are teleporting to the future, landing in the Kino facility. The loading screen is introduced with a voiceover from Dr. Richthofen saying,
Entry 741021! Perhaps this station will hold the key to the real goals of Group 935. I still do not trust my unconventional allies, but they are of great use to me. But I digress. Who would have thought the MDT was capable of time travel? How many stations does this group have? Where did that little girl disappear to? Only time will tell what new questions await us in this theater of the damned.
In this introduction, Richthofen raises several questions that get answered throughout the progression of the storyline in the following maps, setting the stage for the chaos to come. Next to the normal zombies, the map introduces two types of special enemies. First, we see the return of the Hellhounds from World at War. These zombified dogs were originally created during an experiment involving Samantha Maxis' pet dog Fluffy. Here we see Fluffy before being teleported and zombified. They appear in a specific dog round and are known for their speed. Their health increases 3 times overall and, after the third dog round, their health stays the same for the rest of the game. That means we can kill them with normal weapons even into the high rounds. In addition to the Hellhounds, a new zombie type is introduced in Kino, the Nova 6 crawlers. These creatures move on all 4 and explode into a cloud of toxic Nova 6 gas when killed. From other maps we know that the Nova crawlers are the result of failed experiments conducted by Group 935 involving pigs. These crawlers add a new layer of challenge as they are obscuring vision and slowing the player down when killed. You can knife and kill the Nova Crawlers without releasing their toxic gas, which is a helpful strategy early on. However, as the rounds progress and the zombies' health increases, this tactic becomes less viable. Let's continue with the Easter egg song. The song in Kino is called 115 and is named after the element. The song was composed by Kevin Sherwood and performed by Elena Sigmon. To activate it, you have to find and interact with 3 meteor fragments scattered across the map. These meteors are small glowing red rocks, and here's where you can find them. The first one is in the spawn starting room on a small pedestal. Generally, you can also hear them when you are close to them. Now listen carefully. Just press the interact button when facing them and you'll get a feedback.
Of the meteor.
The second one is located in the dressing room near the mannequins.
I found another rock. Maybe they stole this from Japan.
The third is in the boiler room, which is next to the alley, on a shelf next to some letters that are scattered all around. Once you activate all 3, the protagonist you are playing with will say something, and then the song will start playing in the background. Unfortunately, for copyright reasons, I won't be able to play the song in this video, but trust me, if you've never heard it before, you need to check it out. Next up are the film reels. When you teleport, there's a chance you'll end up in one of 4 different areas. Samantha's room, Samantha's zombified and destroyed room, the dentist's office, or the conference room. Each of these rooms can have 1 film reel, and in total there are 3. Once you pick up a reel by pressing the use button near it, you can place it in the projector in the Pack-a-Punch room, which will then display various images on the theater screen and a radio message will be transmitted. In the normal version of Samantha's room, the reel can spawn on the table, on the bed, or leaning against a rocking chair. In the zombified version of Samantha's room, the reel can be found on the bed, leaning on the overturned table, or near the window. If you end up in the dentist's office, you'll want to look for the reel on the card next to the chair, or on one of the 2 counters. And finally, in the conference room, you'll find the reel either on the table in front of you, on the television, or under the projector. The first reel plays an audio log from Ludwig Maxis, where he expresses frustration with the slow progress of the Group 935 experiments.
The test subjects have been undergoing treatment for 5 days with little progress. I have been assured that given time, the programming will take hold.
As this plays, you will see a scientist working with a chemistry set, and if you look closely, the letters E, A and R appear on the side of the table, followed by 935 appearing in the background as the scientist moves around. The second reel reveals some breakthroughs they have made in manipulating the subconscious of the undead. Maxis says,
"In the past weeks, we have made great strides in breaking through to their subconscious. I have had the projectionist make edits to the film. These changes have been very effective."
As the film plays, you'll see zombies along with the numbers 115 and 110 flashing on the screen. We know that 115 is tied to the element, but the meaning of 110 is still a mystery. The third reel shows Maxis reflecting on a breakthrough with subject 26, who is responding to the treatment and showing fewer violent outbursts. He says,
"Subject 26 has had a breakthrough. He is responding to the treatment and following basic instructions. The violent outbursts have been greatly reduced, and given time, we feel this method of treatment will be 100% effective in most cases.
Visually, the reel shows someone's eye, the letters J, D, the number 5, and Group 935's logo. Let's move on to another Easter egg. The small rocket launch Easter egg in the conference room has caused a lot of confusion in the community, and to this day, people are still unsure how to trigger it properly. The general consensus is that after you've collected and loaded all 3 film reels into the projector, a small rocket will appear on the table in the conference room when you teleport back there. Once this rocket is there, you can interact with it and it will launch. Many believe it's a hint at the next map in the zombie storyline, Ascension, which features a rocket starting as its central theme. However, if the launch doesn't work, here's where things get weird. Some believe that there's a hidden death trigger in the dressing room. The theory goes that if you jump 5 times in front of the bloody mannequin in the dressing room, the rocket will launch when you try again. It sounds ridiculous, but it works. The following gameplay shows that the launch is not working after activating all reels, but is working after I jump 5 times. Now let us move on to the hidden radios. The audio logs expand upon the transmissions from the film reels, giving us more insight into Maxis and the progress of Group 935's experiments. The first radio can be found inside the chandelier in the theater. Once you activate it, you'll hear Maxis reporting on the progress of their mind control experiments.
Our timeline for deployment can be accelerated, given the progress we have made in the past 2 weeks. If patient 26 can retain the impressions longer than 26 hours, we will have the process perfect.
This ties directly into what we hear in the film reels. The radio shows that they are making steady progress, but it's still an ongoing process. The second radio is hidden at the top of the watchtower, visible from the alley next to Double Tap. When you activate this one, Maxis is clearly frustrated. He says,
"Another setback. Patient 26 was killed this morning in a field test. He lost control and attacked one of our handlers. His injuries were minor, but patient 26 was destroyed. The break-in programming coincided with the flashing lights and loud noises of the fire alarm in the test facility." One moment. What is it?
This reinforces the idea that Group 935's experiments aren't as stable as Maxis had hoped. So these logs add more context to what we hear in the film reels, expanding on the challenges Maxis faces with the test subjects. Next up are the secret rooms and their mysteries. When you teleport to Samantha's normal room, you're greeted by a clean, well-kept children's bathroom with a calm, pleasant atmosphere. Soft whispers can be heard in the background, along with the sounds of children playing. It feels peaceful, almost nostalgic, but there's an underlying sense that things aren't as they seem. There are photos on the dresser behind us. Strangely, the frames are empty, just blank black spaces where memories used to be. It's as if the photos themselves have faded away, symbolizing the loss of innocence and the tragic forgetting of what once was. On the floor, we can see the four main zombies protagonists, Richtofen, Dempsey, Takeo and Nikolai, arranged like game pieces on a wooden board next to a teddy bear. If you look closely, you can see that the wood houses on the board resemble the Der Riese silhouette. Nearby, there are 4 bottles on the table. Their imprints are facing away. When we use no clip, we can see that the bottles are representing the classic perks: Juggernog, Quick Revive, Speed Cola and Double Tap. On the shelf next to the bottles there are books, one of which is written by Edward Richtofen. What's inside? It's still a mystery. You'll also see another cabinet filled with more books, and once again Richtofen's name pops up. Across the room there's a Faust painting on the wall, a tragedy from real life, which we will come back to later. On the bed there's a monkey toy, an eerie reference to the monkey bombs. It's a subtle hint of the horror to come, even in this seemingly innocent setting. This room shows the life of an innocent girl, untouched and full of potential, but scattered throughout are subtle clues to the suffering that awaits her. The second room is Samantha's destroyed and zombified room. When you teleport here, you're greeted by the same bedroom from before, but it has been destroyed. The atmosphere is chilling, and you can hear whispers and Samantha's crying in the background. The room has been completely torn apart and is filled with a reddish tint. Blood is everywhere, the wallpaper is ripped and the window is smashed. Stuffed teddy bears are scattered across the floor. There is one big teddy bear that was not here before. It has a glowing red eye and symbolizes the evil that now surrounds Samantha. The dentist's room gives off an extremely uneasy vibe. Blaring blue lighting, tools clinking like something out of a nightmare, and the screams of tortured souls echoing in the background. If you look closely, you'll notice a blood-stained handprint behind you on the wall. It's clear something horrible happened here. The blood and screams imply this room was used for something horrific, possibly by Group 935, to conduct unspeakable experiments. What makes this one so interesting is that it is connected to 2 other rooms. If you follow the blood trail on the floor, which by the way has maggots in it, it leads us into a connection room. This place feels like a horror movie set. The knocking sound is deafening and the lights flicker, creating this unnerving sense of tension. Behind the curtains, you'll see a blood-stained chair and a severed head on the ground. This is arguably the scariest room in the entire game, in my opinion. The fear, the horror, and the unsettling sense of violence really hit home here. Heading into the second connection room, we encounter even more confusion and terror. The knocking sound continues, but this time it seems to be coming from behind that door. However, if we no-clip through it, there is nothing behind it. The last room we will cover is the Air Force conference room. Once again, we can notice the eerie whispering in the background. The technical equipment and furniture in the room give off peak Cold War vibes. The air is thick and dusty, particles are floating in the air. It's been a long time since anyone has been in this room. On the table in front of us is the already mentioned rocket. To the left, there's a blueprint that gives us a clearer view of the rocket's design. The projector is on, but it is only displaying a static white light to the screen. Looking over at the TV, we can see cycling images. Most of them are places from the campaign, showing scenes from the Bay of Pigs in Cuba, Havana, and the map Villa. Scattered across the desk and table, we see what at first seem like ordinary documents, nothing out of the ordinary. They almost seem unreadable. However, here's the thing. About 2 years ago, someone on Reddit found out that one of these documents is actually a real classified US government file. The significance of this document, along with the letters you can find in the boiler room that spell out Manhattan Down, ties into a much larger Easter egg spanning across multiple games. I won't dive into that right now, though, because breaking down that Easter egg would take way too long for this video. Don't worry, I'll be covering that in a future video. Okay, let's move on. The portraits in the room to the right of the spawn area include images of the Ultimus crew alongside one blank silhouette. You can interact with the portraits in the mule kick room, and your character will respond with a funny dialogue for each one.
Oh look, it's me, but not quite as magnificent. Oh, it's a picture of the monkey bomb. Eyes are following me. Hello, Dempsey. Ah, it's just a portrait. An ugly one! This one didn't photograph so well.
There's another set of portraits in the room left of the spawn on the second floor. You can see them through the barricade, however, you can't interact with them. There has been a lot of speculation around these portraits, especially regarding the fifth one that's knocked off the wall and lying on the floor. While there's no official confirmation, there are theories about the fifth portrait, ranging from characters like Pablo Marinus, Peter McCain, Cornelius Purnell, or even Dr. Maxis himself. I noticed something intriguing while recording in the Pack-a-Punch room. Before turning on the power, the clock is frozen at exactly 12 PM or AM. After we switch the power on, the clock seems to be stuck again, this time at either 9:20 AM or PM. Does this have any significance? We don't know for sure, but it certainly is an interesting detail. Other than that, we can also see Dr. Maxis' office in the room. On his desk lie parts of element 115, the glowing rock we have already seen, as well as various chemistry tools, like test tubes, glass containers and more. There are also some important photos here. One of these photos is of a zombified dog, which references the experiments done on Samantha's pet dog, Fluffy. A note next to the photo reads, "Die Hunde reagieren nicht auf die Menschen," which translates to, "The dogs do not respond to humans," indicating that these zombified dogs can't be controlled. Another picture on the desk shows a zombified human, with part of the caption cut off, reading, "Kommt zum Leben zurück," which means comes back to life. Below that, we can see an arrow pointing towards something outside of the document and a note that says Gehirn des Bären, Affe, which means brain of the bear, monkey. This could be a reference to Samantha's teddy bear or even the monkey bombs used in the game. It could also hint at the cosmic silverback from the Dead Ops arcade, or the monkeys found in Ascension and Shangri-La. To the left of these images, there's another notable document, the Illuminati letter. This letter is actually spread across 3 different locations in Kino. Under a staircase, in the Pack-a-Punch room as shown, and on the bulletin board in the conference room. The letter is dated January 23rd, 1975 and is addressed to Edward Richthofen from the Illuminati. It says, "We have listed both Tabun and Sarin. Be wary of the Doctor. His involvement should be minimized if we want to make it out alive. We are not sure how we achieved this time and place. Do what you must." We can also see the chemical formulas of Sarin and Tabun, which are highly toxic nerve agents used as chemical weapons. If we turn around, there's a chalkboard with comments and graphics considering the research of Dr. Maxis. It says, Experiment 935 was successful. Everything can be based off this model. Then, on the right it says, Help. Why is wrong? Why won't it work? The uppercase help resembles the help that is written on the door in Nacht der Untoten. Below that, someone wrote Schwarze Sonne, meaning black sun in German. This most likely is a reference to Nazi occultism. Die Schwarze Sonne is associated with the mystical and occult beliefs within the upper ranks of the Nazi SS and the ancient powers that the Nazis were allegedly seeking to harness. This fits very well considering Dr. Maxis was a high-rank Nazi scientist working with a new element to create special weapons and almost unkillable soldiers. Further down we can read Energy Momentum. Tomorrow the project will move into full production. What I've rarely seen in Kino guides is the back side of the chalkboard. By using no-clip we can take a closer look at it. This side is covered with physics equations, teleportation and time travel calculations along with various other experimental notes. If any of you out there understand these equations, feel free to drop a comment. One of the key things written here is the phrase, Edward, I know it was you. This indicates the moment when Maxis realizes that Richthofen will betray, or already has betrayed, him. There's also another note that says, Level 5, 8 must survive, and further down, why? Gravity potential, along with model 647. I haven't been able to figure out what this could mean exactly, so it's still a mystery. We have already taken a look at the Illuminati letters, but there are also other references to the organization throughout the map. One of the most notable symbols is the All-Seeing Eye, which appears twice. The first depiction of the Eye of Providence is located on the side of the box containing the zombie pod, found under the stairs in the area between the main room and the boiler room. The second appearance is on a piece of paper, placed on a book behind a barrier in the boiler room. Another reference to the Illuminati is when Richthofen is picking up the ray gun and says, "The Illuminati will never get their hands on me again." These references hint at the influence of the Illuminati over the events unfolding, and especially over Richthofen, who seems to be a key figure for them. Throughout the theater we can find 3 recurring posters. First up is Faust. It is a reference to the real-life German tragedy named Faust, written by Goethe. The poster depicts Mephisto, a representative of the devil, and Faust as a warrior in Greek armor. The illustrated text describes the names of the characters. Herzog von Parme is translated to Duke of Parma, Faust, Gretchen, Erzengel, which is translated to Archangel, and Mephisto. Faust is a successful scholar but is not satisfied with his life. He makes a deal with the devil, exchanging his soul for unlimited knowledge and worldly pleasures. He influences and gaslights other people and has to pay a high price in the end. If that sounds familiar, it's because it parallels Richtofen's journey in the zombie story. Richtofen betrays Maxis and his other friends. He will do whatever it takes to gain control over Element 115, the Aether, and the zombies. The second poster is called Pygmalion. Pygmalion is the name of a well-known myth from Greek mythology. The story behind it was turned into a play, and this poster references this. The text on the right reads, schuf eine Frau, aber gab ihr einen freien Willen, which translates to, he created a woman, but he gave her free will. In the Pygmalion myth, an artist falls in love with a statue he created, and it comes to life. In a modern sense, it's about transforming someone into something more than they were before. An analogy would be that the scientists of Group 935, particularly Dr. Maxis and Richtofen, attempt to create a new creature, the zombies, using Element 115 and Nova 6. This creation, however, proves uncontrollable, much like in Pygmalion, where the statue develops a will of its own. Finally, we have Die Bismark. This poster is most likely based on the real-life German Nazi battleship, which was built in the late 1930s and sank during World War II. I can't derive an analogy to the zombie storyline for this one, unfortunately. Let's move on. So, not only in Samantha's room we can find Perk Bottles, but there's also a set of them displayed in the glass cabinet of the bar in the spawn room. For whatever reason, there are 2 quick arrive bottles. In the dressing room, we can hear something knocking, seemingly trapped inside one of the boxes in one of the side rooms. When we look inside the box using no-clip, there's nothing inside. The repeating knocking might hint at a form of conditioning, which aligns with the theory of experiments involving mind control and altering the consciousness of test subjects. Some even speculate that the knocking is actually Morse code, but this theory has never been confirmed. Let's move on. The mannequin linked to the rocket launch holds another eerie secret. It's the only mannequin in the room with a bloodstain around the heart area and bleeds when shot at. The developer's intention behind this particular detail is unknown, but its uniqueness has sparked much speculation among the community. Some theorize that there could be a soul trapped within the mannequin. In a side room near Speed Cola, we can hear a disturbing, debilitating scream. A trail of blood leads around the corner, making it seem like someone might be lying there, but upon closer inspection, there's no one to be found. It appears that whatever happened here most likely involved torture and a trapped soul. Let's move on. All around the main stage there are pots with zombies inside of them. The 2D models have a striking resemblance to the scene of the cult classic Return of the Living Dead, where the zombies are contained in similar glass-like pots. It also seems like that one of the pots is open, and whatever was inside has escaped. The zombie inside looks different from the undead we are fighting, leaving us uncertain whether it is stronger or not. It gives off an unsettling vibe, hinting at a failed experiment. Also on the stage, we can find a written piece of paper. It says, "Side effects of using 115. The power is undeniable, but who can use such weapons without themselves turning?" Another piece of paper that can be found near the stage is hidden inside a book behind some barriers. It reads Ignomo Jubilus in Latin, which roughly translates to blissful ignorance or laughable mistake. A popular theory by Moonblast suggests that this could be the scientific name of the Nova 6 crawlers. If you're interested in learning more about this theory, you can find a link to his video in the description. Okay, so let's get to the last secret in Kino, the wall writings. In the spawn room, the writing says, "Beware of the 6. This is a clear reference to the Nova 6 crawlers. The warning emphasizes the threat they pose. In the Ampiel room, another message reads, "Brimstone to Damnation." Brimstone is another term for sulfur. From the backstory we know that sulfur is a main component of the Nova 6 gas. It seems like that the person that wrote this holds a deep grudge related to the research and use of Nova 6. On the main stage near the teleporter power switch, the writing says, "Knowledge itself is power," with power crossed out and replaced with "for the taking." Considering the horrible experiments conducted, this might imply that knowledge is no longer an empowering tool, but something to be seized and manipulated. In the dressing rooms, Samantha, Emilia, Abigail is written with the heart and the tag JD. The use of Samantha's name alongside 2 other names, neither of which we've seen before, raises questions, especially since Samantha never appeared in Kino. The odd capitalization where Samantha is capitalized but the other names aren't adds to the mystery. The tag JD further complicates things as these initials appear elsewhere in the game, such as on a film reel and in Der Riese, but the true identity of JD remains unknown. So I have seen in older videos that near the teleporter there should be a phrase partially written in Illuminati code. The first part is encoded and the second part reads Projectionist in plain text. When the Illuminati symbols are decoded, the full phrase spells out Aether Projectionist. This could hint at a deeper connection between the Aether and whoever or whatever controls the projector in Kino der Toten. I haven't been able to find this writing in-game myself, to be honest, which suggests it might be from an early version of the game. In 2020, 8 years after its last update, Black Ops 1 received a major update. For the launch of Cold War, I was really hoping Kino would finally get a big Easter egg, but sadly that wasn't the case. Over the years, many dedicated community members have data mined the source code, and unfortunately, there's no indication of a larger hidden Easter egg on this map. Yeah, so let's wrap things up. I just want to say thanks to everyone who stuck with this game for so long. It's wild that after all these years we're still uncovering new details and theories. So I hope this video brought back some nostalgia for you. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Now this ought to be a good time.